Hey guys, this is Jason with ComicCryptoStock. I want to talk a little bit today about kind of the history of comic book collecting and where it was maybe in the 70s through today. All of the comic keys really have been doing really well. You know, everything has steadily been going up over the last few months, you know, just as I'm checking a broad spectrum of different keys and stuff like that. So overall, the comic book market is it's killing it. You know, they're constantly going up. So let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit of the history, because I kind of think it's kind of interesting. So in the 70s through probably the early 80s, if you were a comic book collector and you had your golden age, your silver age stuff, and you're getting a little bit older and you're looking to sell, there was not a lot of comic book stores around that you could just go to and say, hey, here's my collection, I'm ready to sell, and sell it. That didn't exist yet. So what you had was kind of like mail order companies, you know, bigger companies that had big warehouses, you know, kind of like a Sears and Roebuck. They send you, you know, little, you know, pamphlets that would have just all different kind of comic books they would have and all the prices and stuff like that. There was one back in the day that I used to deal with called Kingpin Comics, and it was great. You know, we were able to buy in bulk, buy discounts, and you know, we'd go do shows and stuff like that. But this is even before, because that was in the 90s. So you would have to basically box all your comics up and send them to them, and they would get them, and they would inventory them, and they would grade them, and then they would basically tell you what they would give you. Well, the big problem with that is you give them your Amazing Spider-Man #1 and say it's a 9.4, you send it to them, and they go, yeah, you know, we've got your Amazing Spider-Man here, it's a 8 to 8.5, and you're on the other end on your phone going, oh, I had that graded at 9.4. They go, yeah, well, we're the professional graders, and you know, I can see how you might think it's a 9.4, but it really isn't, it's an 8.5. So, you know, back in the day, maybe that book in a 9.4 was worth 200, and an 8.5 it was worth, you know, 130. So they'd go, yeah, you know, so we'll go ahead and give you half price, or whatever the markup they would have, but they're giving you half price on 130, which is like 60 bucks, when it's really a $200 book. So you're basically giving up probably about 70% of the value of the book when you actually went to sell it. So if you're looking at this as an investment, you know, you're going to buy a book for $100, it's got to go to $500–600 before you can make any money. Well, that's not a very good investment, you know, or selling it is really difficult. You know, you could try and piecemeal it out to different people, or there was no real way for you to sell a collection efficiently. You know, if you're getting older, you're retiring, you want to get out, you know, there was no real way to do it. So I kind of like to call that friction. You know, it's almost like taxes with an economy. If you raise taxes through the roof, no one wants to work, because why? You're not making any money. So the way that the model was set up back then, with your big companies basically kind of having a stranglehold on you. They have your books, you can argue about grade a little bit, but they're basically going to give you about 1/3 of what the book is worth or less, you know. You know, for stuff that wasn't keys, my God, you know, they would probably just really almost give you nothing for it. And then, you know, at the same time, the one that you sold them as a 9.4 that they told you was an 8.5, they're going to sell it to a customer as a 9.6, you know, and charge them an extra 50 bucks. So they really kind of had a racket going on, but there was really nothing you could do. And back at that point, people weren't really collecting for an investment anyway. I mean, people were maybe starting to think that, hey, you know, these books kind of go up, but they knew that when it would come time to sell them, if you're trying to sell your whole collection, you're just going to get pennies on the dollar. All right, so fast forward another 10, 15, 20 years, now you start comic book stores coming. All right, so now you have, any major market city would probably have a couple comic book stores. So now when it comes time to sell your collection, you could take it in there, you could look at it, and if he looks at your Amazing, you know, one and goes, oh, you know, this is an 8.5. You go, you know, let me look at that 8.5 on the wall. and he pulls that down. No, this looks way better than that one. It's, you know, you're calling this one a, you know, 8.5. My book is way better than that. It's definitely better than 8.5. You know, so they couldn't really play that game with you. They'd have to be kind of realistic. Okay, maybe if he thinks it's a 9.4 and he thinks, oh, I can probably tell this guy, no, it's a 9.2. Okay, he could probably get away with something like that, but he's not going to be able to drastically, you know, downgrade your book just so they can get it cheaper. But at that time, you know, comic book stores or baseball card stores, all that type of stuff, they'd basically give you half. You know, you'd get half of what the book was worth because they wanted to mark it up 100%. So your, you know, $100 book, they're going to give you $50. You know, is what it is. People just kind of accepted it. If it was something super, super hot, maybe you'd get 75 cents on the dollar. If the store owner thought he could sell it for overguide, or he would just sell it immediately, they'd maybe give you a little bit more. But, you know, basically you're going to get half. And for the stuff that's not keys, you're probably going to get less than half. So now if you're looking as an investment, you buy a book for $100, it needs to go to, you know, $300 and $400 for you to make money. All right, well, that's better than $600. So the friction has gone down now. So the friction started at 70%, now it's down to 50%. So now you start to see value starting to come up, because people that look at it in investing could go, well, you know what, the books do go up. Yeah, it has to double before I can break even, or quadruple before I can double my money. But that, when they start looking at the history of the values of the books, that this is a doable thing. So then you kind of have a little more people thinking investment within collectibles, comic books, and stuff like that. Still, probably primarily it's collectors, but you are getting some investors and speculators. Now you come into the 90s, where probably every major market city is going to have 10 or 15 comic book stores, baseball card shops, or just collectible stores. And then you have the massive print runs and the speculators that basically crash the comic book market. That, you know, could probably be a whole nother video. But so basically, people were buying up, you know, lots of brand new books because they were looking at, wow, Amazing Spider-Man #1. Look, you could have bought that for 10 cents. It's now in near minutes worth $2,000 back in the 90s. So they're thinking, oh, let me buy, you know, 100 of these Turok #1s and Bloodshot #1s and whatever other else was coming out. You know, Amazing Spider-Man, or not Amazing Spider-Man, but the oh, what was it? The Spider-Man 2099s and all this other stuff. You know, crazy stuff. All these foil covers, hologram covers, glow-in-the-dark covers, variant gold editions, all this stuff. So they were just buying it all up because they thought all these books that they're buying 20, 30 years from now are going to be worth $2,000 each. Well, yeah, that didn't quite happen. Basically what happened is they bought up a whole bunch of stuff, and eventually someone decided to sell it, and there was no buyers left. So the comic book market immediately crashed. At that time, I was into the newer stuff. I wasn't collecting Silver Age, Bronze Age, and I still really don't do a ton of Golden Age anymore. You know, a couple things here and there, but I'm more Silver Age. So, but back then, I was all just the new stuff. Give me the new stuff, because that's what I want. I was real big on Valiant, which that kind of worked out, but anyway, so I made the same mistake as everyone else. I was just collecting all the new stuff, and that's what I was trying to speculate on, and anyway, that didn't work out. You know, I bought 30 Spawn #1s and 30 X-Force #1s, and, you know, anyway, they're not worth thousands of dollars each 20 years later, right? No. So then from there, the comic book market really just, it was the readers and the hardcore collectors that stayed in, and slowly it started to build back up. Fast forward a little bit to the internet. All right, so the internet started to allow a cheaper way for people to be able to sell their books, either to, you know, stores or other collectors. So the big one is eBay, right? So when eBay came out, now all of a sudden you don't get half price for your book. You're getting what it's worth, you know? and at that point eBay was only charging, you know, a couple percent. So that was a huge reduction in friction, right? Now you go from, hey, I can buy a book from $100, it can go to $150, I can sell it, I can make profit. So now it's like you don't need these huge multiples of increases in value for you to be able to make money. So now people really started to take a look at, all right, you know, now this makes sense to invest. Still not real mainstream though, and it's still not mainstream, right? I mean, you tell people you're investing in comic books, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So anyway, that really allowed for people to look at, hey, this is an alternative form of investing that people can supplement their portfolio with or whatnot. So in the early 2000s, eBay really took off. There's other auction houses, websites, Comic Link, Comic Connect, My Comic Shop. There's other things out there too. And you know, the going rate now is between 10 to 15% and 13% when by the time you count PayPal. So they've raised their fees up, but still the relative friction to the previous system of lots of local comic book stores is vastly less. So that really allows for people to be able to invest in comics, to speculate in comics, and not have to have massive increases in value in order to make money. So what's next? All right, so now we've got the movies driving new collectors that are getting interested in first appearances and so on and so forth. You know, Avengers Infinity War is coming, so everyone's buying up Thanos' first appearance. You know, Iron Man 55, great book, I love it, all right? But, you know, probably missed the boat slightly on that one, but that's all right. You know, the other thing is, hey, wait for the movie to come out, you'll probably get it cheaper 6 months later. All right, so the movies are driving everything now. They're adding new collectors and generating new interest for the older books, the first appearances, so on and so forth. But the friction hasn't changed yet. So I think that relatively soon, hopefully we'll have some other additional platforms come out to compete with eBay, Comic Link, Comic Connect, My Comic Shop, all these people. You've got a little bit of Instagram community coming around where people are being able to sell stuff with basically no cost or just PayPal fees. So that's a nice reduction in the friction from the current, you know, increase we've had from the early days of eBay, right? You know, when it was 3%, and now we're up to 13% with PayPal. But you know, Instagram, not really searchable. People really can't go there and find it. So I do believe that there will be another leap forward and reduction in friction that's going to allow people to buy and sell stuff easier. And hopefully it happens soon, because I'm sure anyone that sells stuff is sick of paying all these high fees. I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, anyone that's new to comic book collecting, you know, I hope you found that kind of interesting, and be happy that we're not having to send everything to mail order companies and have them try and downgrade our comics and rip us off. But anyway, so I'm waiting for the next technology to come out to give all these other companies a run for their money, give eBay a run for their money. But until the next time, guys, this is Jason, ComicCryptoStock. Thanks.